Tom, we were just chatting with Tommy about the number of hours that he stayed up doing radio, which is 18. I know you've had some long nights over the years covering the Razorbacks. How long do you think you've stayed up into the night or worked hours straight covering this football team or basketball team over the years?
That's a great question. There's been some late football games delayed by weather and such, but I definitely covered. Bob and I were both at the Missouri State home game in 2017, was it? It got delayed, and I think it ended around 3 a.m. Do y'all recall the details of that?
Yeah, regional game. Arkansas stayed alive, I think, on a Saturday night. Unfortunately, lost that, or maybe it was Sunday night, lost that Sunday or Monday. I think about that 2 years prior, they beat Florida in the SEC tournament, and that game lasted till like 1. I'm guessing, Tom, that the game may have concluded at 3, but you and Bob were probably right until 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh no! When it's that late, you just kind of file the deal, the gamer, and then you get out of there because we had to cover a game the next day. I also was at the SEC tournament that game you referenced against Florida. Bobby Wernis hit a home run, or he did something really big in that game too. So yeah, I was at that one in Hoover as well.
I think that was the ninth, or not, excuse me, that was like the 8th inning, because I remember him hitting. He wasn't necessarily the best hitter. That was a big hit for now Coach Wernis here in Arkansas. Tom, today's a big deal for college athletics, the changing with the revenue and whatnot. I know we got a chance to hear from Remy Cofield last week. You've given us your thoughts thus far. Is there anything that maybe you've thought of in the last day or so that we haven't necessarily accounted for, or something that you think is important when it comes to not just today, but moving here on forward in college athletics?
Well, it's just maybe the sad toll that these departments have had to make some cuts and all. And, I understand that revenue sharing or paying athletes was inevitable, but just the way it all, the way it transpired and the cost is, a little bit alarming. I would say this: Arkansas is not going to be completely open about the exact percentages or maybe amounts that go to sport by sport. Other schools have done it, but I guess I understand it's a competitive balance issue. But, the majority needs to go to the highest fundraising sports, and that's football and men's basketball, and then it goes from there. So it's just a reality, and, if we had time to reverse and approach it in a different way from years ago, perhaps the NCAA could have kept itself out of this huge lawsuit. And what I fear is that we're only at the tip of the iceberg on how lawsuits are going to spawn from this, with Title IX, with women's sports and those kinds of things, because there's always going to be attorneys out there who will represent an aggrieved party. And I really don't understand, the exact cutoff date, why it goes back to a certain year that they were given back pay and this huge settlement. And it's just really kind of a financial mess. And we're seeing that play out. And as I wrote on the story last week, I can't remember if it was Thursday or Friday, that they had cuts in the department. So it's just a sad reality of this.
Yeah, and now the human side is names are getting put to the situation. Kevin Trainor's a name that everyone in the media certainly knows, and I think for fans that follow closely, they know Kevin. Made the announcement of Norm DeBryan and in his election to the College Baseball Hall of Fame. He's been very closely connected to that baseball program. That's the human element of this. We all think of these big numbers, and we talk about $20.5 million and 25 million with scholarships, and then the human element of it is someone you've worked with and around for 20 plus years is no longer going to be there as a result of all of this that's unfolded.
Yeah, I have heard that. And Kevin, it's so I was covering Bama, as you guys know, years before I came here, and I just remember Mary Lynn was the receptionist back then, the executive assistant. And if I had to come to campus and do something, they were always just so gracious. Like, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come here, was their athletic department was so welcoming, and they'd get me a parking pass or whatever it took, and I felt like I was friends with them. And that was when I was covering an opposing team. I mean, we did features at my previous paper on an athlete on the other team. And Kevin got me a phone interview with Matt Jones way back in the day. Matt didn't seem too excited about doing it, but we had the interview anyway, and on the phone right after a practice. So it was a different time. But, I understand Kevin's in Ireland, or has been in Ireland, and I saw where Wally wrote about that the other day, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that's the human side of it. So I think while today kind of marks the day of a new change, today's not like some day where all of this gets unfolded and we, lift the curtain and we feel this whole new presence. But this is where it will officially start. And I think there will be things we all notice come the end of football season that is different. And I think maybe player behavior and the things that we see, that is different. And the way coaches are handling things, I think those are the things that this football season we'll start to notice the subtleties of a lot of things. But behind the scenes, this is heavy stuff.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that. We had a story in the paper today I was just reading about North Carolina's athletic department having to make a decision about just basically publicizing a tip-off, a basketball 4-team tournament deal, special one, and whether or not to use the likeness of their top player, and I can't think of his name right now, Trimble or something like that, but whether or not to use him. And so they decided not to, because he had the right to not be used in athletic department promotional material. And that's going to be part of contracts now sometimes. And, it's a whole new world, and there's going to be a lot of legalese and language in contracts that will need to be deciphered by athletic departments and attorneys. And today is step one, and we have clearinghouse stuff to do to go through on NIL. How much teeth will this College Sports Commission have to enforce things? So many questions. And when you have thousands of athletes, there's going to be different types of behaviors with that much money involved. It is inevitable, and there's probably going to be certain backlash from certain fans, but that's where we are with modern college sports. And I'm happy there's compensation going to athletes.
Yeah.
But the way it's been implemented, and just maybe the some of the numbers are a little bit eye-popping and somewhat disturbing.
Is this the number one topic? Where does this rank as far as conversation at SEC Media Days in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be pretty huge, and because it's still going to be evolving. The number of conference games will be a real hot-button issue because it's getting closer and closer. The format of the college football playoff as we move ahead will also be a big topic. A lot of changes. And also I understand there's probably going to be a lot of movement in the group of five, or, the non-Power 4 conferences, with realignments coming up real soon as well.
Tom Murphy with us, Whole Hog Sports Arkansas, Democrat-Gazette, courtesy of the Arkansas Beef Council. Tom, we actually, Steve Sullivan, I don't know where the source is at, but you were talking about the disparate distribution for the revenue sharing. The NCAA estimates for Arkansas, this is on his Twitter right now, football's at 73%, hoops is at 20%, baseball's at 5.7%. Does that kind of go in line with what you were thinking for Arkansas and how they would divvy it out from the revenue sharing standpoint?
Yeah, and I saw that, what you're referencing, which, that's probably going to fall in line with the top. Other than the baseball, I think it was listed as maybe the third highest in the NCAA. I think I saw that somewhere. But, yeah, that falls in line. And obviously, you got to feed the football. You got to be competitive on that, or you're just going to lose some top players. So, yeah, that makes sense to me.
We got a chance to listen to Taylor Green. He was in Thibodaux, Louisiana at the Manning Passing Academy. Caught up with one of our buddies, Chris Gordy, with Locked On SEC. And he talked about, again, year two, getting accustomed to the SEC, playing under Bobby Petrino, getting to know that offense in another offseason. Tom, do you think, how pivotal it is to just keep him healthy this fall, being the fact that, he got injured in the Tennessee game, won the same after that. Do you think they have the guys in place on the offensive line to do that this year?
Well, that's a great question. They say, and Bobby Petrino has said their O-line will be better, and I think he actually used the terminology much better. But it doesn't matter how healthy how great your line is. A quarterback can get hit in all kind of different ways, or he can make a cut and non-contact and do something to a knee. So as much as he runs, there is that chance. And he did take some strange shots in both the Tennessee and the Ole Miss games. And for Arkansas, Malachi Singleton did what he had to do to lead the winning drive against Tennessee and was very productive in the second half against Ole Miss. So can they get the same type performances out of K.J. Jackson or someone else? This year's will be a big question if needed. But I think it's huge. I think staying healthy on defense is going to be really big, too, because I don't see them being super deep. Sam Pittman seems encouraged by the fact they're going to be older. So they're a veteran team. There's a lot of, transfer portal guys that are seniors that have been through changes, that have been able to adapt to systems quickly. And that's something Bobby Petrino referenced in spring, was that so many of their guys are veterans. They know how to adjust what they know in football to the terminology Arkansas uses quicker than what freshmen would be able to do. So they were able to go faster in spring. So I don't know. It's just a huge year. We all know how big it is in terms of, Sam Pittman's tenure, how many wins they might need, and just a really hard schedule. So the health of Taylor Green and the health of some key guys on defense, to me, will be real big factors this season.
As you're talking about defense, Tom Murphy with us, Whole Hog Sports Arkansas, Democrat-Gazette on the Lewis Automotive Group hotline. Xavier Story, Cam Ball, the names that I think Arkansas fans pretty familiar with. Xavier had a great season last year. Cam's not only the funniest guy on that team, but he's also a really good football player. I look at a kid like Wooten from Auburn that came over. Tom, who are the other guys that maybe you've keyed in on in the offseason and just the impact that they can have this fall for defense-wise?
Yeah, they feel pretty good about what's going on at cornerback, and they had some one-year guys last year at cornerback, Marquise Robinson and some others who were good contributors, and it worked out pretty good. They feel like because they have some depth at corner, they might be able to be more creative with the numbers they use at getting after quarterbacks, which we know is really big, and that could be the kind of factor that plays into your season, that you're moving quarterbacks, you're disrupting them, and your cornerbacks are holding up well enough. And so they knew how important it was. And to me, a lot of those transfer cornerbacks are big, and the safeties. I fear a little bit for their depth at safety, but Wooden and Miguel Mitchell and some of these other guys are going to have to, show Scandrett, going to have to show up and stay healthy to give them some protection, some depth at safety as well.
Tom, we'll leave it there, man. We'll chat on Thursday and heading into 4th of July weekend. Hope you have a good weekend before we get to that point.
Same to you and all the listeners. Take care.
BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your sports betting action. And with baseball in full swing and football season right around the corner, BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting. From MLB, UFC to tennis and NFL futures, BetOnline remains your choice for sports wagering information. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. Head to the website today and take advantage of their industry-leading VIP program with level-up bonuses and weekly cash boosts. BetOnline. The game starts here.